My name is Red Riding Hood. My story has been told for many years by many people. I've been rescued by lumberjacks, bested and digested by wolves. I even got my grandma served for lunch. After yet another narrow escape, I found it was my turn to be the heroine.
Okay, I'll give you a guess at what we're looking at here. I'll give you a little guess. If you guess Red Riding Hood, you'd be right. And the reason for that and this is because of this guy. What are we here at Gamescom seeing? Tell us about it.
Okay, we're making a hack and slash side-scroller puzzle platform game with Red Riding Hood as main character. And we've changed a few things. We've turned the animal wolf into a big industrialist wolf and put in more modern context where NSA and stuff like that's all around you, and yeah, we're trying to make a really adventurous story.
Okay. Let's talk about the character, let's talk about the world. Obviously we've seen various games, various stories subvert the fantasy genre, like the Fable series, comic book series and such. Curious to know, so what spin have you put on this classic fairy tale, and given that we've seen this fairy tale being used in, like I said, so many mediums, how do you make it unique to you?
I think we started off with the original Red Riding Hood stories, and probably most of the other developers and stories do that too, because it's a really old story. It started in Japan and in Spain. Nobody really knows where it actually started, but it's like 4,000 years old, something like that. Anyway, we started with that as a basic, and it's much more gruesome or dramatic than the story you know today. And then we pulled in other fairy tales, and also we didn't stop where Red Riding Hood meets Woolfe and saves Grandma. We went further. That's actually when our real story starts. And I think on another level we changed something big as well, where the normal Red Riding Hood story warns girls for bad men. We're trying to warn people for bad industry, maybe something like that. And that's I think an original level in our game as well. It's not the most original topic, of course, because yeah, since the Matrix, everyone's doing stuff like that. But yeah, I think we got a nice fairy tale vibe in it.
So what's the structure of the game? I mean, how you say hack and slash? How does it play out? Level based, mission based. What's the idea?
Okay, it's a story. So it's actually story based. You go from one story part to the next story part, and all the environments are linked to those story emotionally and in progression. So. You start off as someone who doesn't know that much yet and has to learn how to fight, how to get better. We're trying to get the magic in via Kickstarter. That's something you'll ask me out later, I'm sure. Something like that.
I love it. Like that. Well, okay, you have to, as a player, you have to learn all these combat skills and stuff like that. So, does Hood begin as an amateur, or are we joining her when she knows how she does, or by some way we have to learn?
Actually, she's been raised by her grandmother in the woods before she came back to the city to find revenge or to find out how her father got killed. And that's when the whole story actually starts. So while she was raised by her grandmother is kind of a tough person too. She already learned some combat skills. She could put down a tree and yeah. So she knows how to fight, but there's this other thing that might be looming inside her that we need to know more about, and that's where the Kickstarter comes in again. So it's some kind of magic that we need to explore and need to get more out of, and that's gonna unlock a whole bunch of possibilities. For how she evolves and how she learns how to fight and stuff like that, yeah.
Now, you're no stranger to Kickstarter, obviously. Well, what's been the experience for you?
Well, we just launched last week, We've been live for 7 days. We got 60% of our budget. It's amazing, you know. It's gone really well. Now we just need to finish the whole thing, get the whole game back, so we can get the magic running. And yeah.
I mean, what's the sort of goalpost for the Kickstarter? I mean, can people still get involved now?
Yeah, we got 3 more weeks to go. I think 4th of September is deadline. Yeah, go for that.
Excellent. Now with this axe, right? Is that the only weapon in the game, or is there other?
Well, that's how it starts, because that's the only thing she knows how to fight with. Well, she's got a small dagger. We're still figuring out if she's going to be able to use that, but actually the magic's going to make all the difference. What we're using now is a lot of combos, a lot of power upgrades. Once you start fighting and you can stay in that stance, your blade starts getting hot, and when it gets hot, you get extra combos, finishers, and special moves. And once you can add magic to that, it's gonna totally explode, and you get fireworks on the screen. It's gonna be beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, so it's very, very combat oriented with these story beats between those moments.
Yeah. Not only that, we got puzzles too. Yeah. There's this whole intriguing universe on how to get to specific places, how to proceed in the story, and it's not all that simple to get from A to B. You have to. Some levels don't have any enemies. You have to figure out how to get through them. We're not making it super hardcore difficult. It's supposed to be a fun game. You're supposed to be able to get from the beginning to the end, because it's a story. We want people to see and to feel the story as well. So, yeah.
With the slightly twisted sort of artwork we see here, is it a more mature take on a storytelling? Are we talking more sort of adult-oriented take?
More adult-oriented?
Well, in that you wouldn't want your kids playing it.
Well, actually, our rating till now is really good. You know, we had to get rated for this show here in Cologne, and we should be able to get the 12+ rating. So we're not killing any people. We're not giving any too foul language. We don't have any. We only have fancy violence. So, yeah, you're killing elves and tin soldiers and. Okay, wolves. The wolves are real animals, but still, they're not people, and you're not aiming at them with a gun. You're hack and slashing. It's a different kind of mechanic. The story is maybe a little more mature. Our U.S. press agency already said, well, maybe you should be careful with certain things you're talking about, especially if you read the older Red Riding Hood stories. But I think we can get away with quite a lot, because we're not objectifying. And it's a story.
Okay, so sort of wrapping up then, when can people play it and how can people play it? What formats will it be on?
Well, you can start in September. The alpha's out in September, and it's going to be really cool to be part of that, because it's going to be very from building block upwards, that people are going to see how we actually make the game, and so we can get very rough environments that have not been cleaned up. The beta should be out in December, and then it should be all cleaned up and nicer to walk with. We still have walls where you can walk through and stuff like that. Those things we want people to find. And we're hoping to release in February, so we can get something on GDC. That would be great. So that's the PC version. Console version would be for second quarter, so we can get on E3. That's our planning.
You got this planning well ahead. I like it. Well, listen, thank you very much indeed for talking to us. All the best.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, why do I need you? Well, I have my weapon. I have my grin. But that won't do the trick. In order to defeat Woolfe, I'm gonna need some magic. Sure, I could sell my soul to the Wicked Witch in the woods, but I'd rather take your pledge and reward you with some badass goods.